Bret Siegel names the Chicago Bulls along with the Los Angeles Clippers as a team that could land Anferenee Simons as the Boston Celtics could look to direct the young guard. We're going to talk about what that means, how the Bulls could get it done, and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Haize, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And Bret Siegel just came out with an article a couple of minutes, about an hour ago at this point, in regards to teams that could potentially be looking to move to that could be a landing spot for Anferenee Simons, as the Boston Celtics are looking to redirect the guard that they just acquired not too long ago. This puts the Chicago Bulls as a team that could be in that running to get Anferenee Simons. I'm going to read it directly here. It says this: after trading Lonzo Ball on Saturday and continue to field calls about Coby White, the Chicago Bulls may need a new guard next to Josh Giddey, who the team intends to re-sign in free agency. The Bulls like to play fast and shoot a lot of threes, which would fit Simmons' style of play perfectly. More importantly, from Boston's point of view, Nikola Vucevic is a veteran big man who could make a lot of sense as a one-year replacement for Porzingis. Such a swap would immediately move the Celtics out of the first apron and give them a key veteran center. Although there is no confirmation that the two teams have discussed such a scenario, the Celtics have been mentioned by league sources as a team with interest in Vucevic previously. Now, there's a couple of things going on, a couple of different moving parts when it comes down to this. The Boston Celtics, as it stands right now, are $19 million above the second tax apron. So they would have to get under the second tax apron if they do not want to pay that second tax apron at all. That was part of the goal with what the moves that they made, things like that, right? So they still have some things that they need to do here to get further below and save a little bit more money. Now, Anferenee Simons has a $27 million contract. Nikola Vucevic's contract is around $19 million, so they would be saving quite a bit on that. If they need to do more salary matching, the Bulls could include Javon Carter in this as well. But and per what Bret Siegel's saying, I want to be clear here. He's not saying that this is a move that's going to happen regardless. He's saying that if the Bulls do move Coby in another move, this could be the move that follows it. And so you guys know I have my doubts on the Bulls and how much they are really looking to move Coby White. That's just my personal opinion. I felt that way for a while here. I think if the Bulls were really looking to move Coby, they could have done so already. Again, personal opinion. It just is. That's just my personal opinion. Everybody can have their own feeling on it. But to hear that Anferenee Simons could be a player that the Bulls could look to replace Coby, I don't necessarily know how I feel about that. Anferenee Simons is a year older than Coby White, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they're the same age. He's smaller than Coby White, and while he is a better catch-and-shoot player, which would fit better theoretically next to Coby White, I mean, Anferenee Simons' contract is up in, a year or two? So you'll be turning around. This is the last year on Anferenee Simons' contract. So I don't know how this trade would benefit the Bulls unless they get a lot back for Coby that we're not expecting, but I did think it was interesting enough to float around. So many people have asked about Nikola Vucevic and what teams could be interested, and to hear that the Celtics could be a team that's interested in Vooch, it brings a little bit of intrigue there, but I don't know how I feel about that. And one thing that that I can admit throughout this whole process, if those that don't know, and I'll be clear on it, I still have an attachment to Coby White. Like, I love Coby White on this Bulls team. So maybe the standard that I hold as far as the type of player that I'd be willing to move off of Coby White for, or the assets that I would want if the Bulls do move off Coby White, maybe they aren't realistic. You know, Anferenee Simons is 6'3", 200 pounds. We already talk about, like, while he's a great shooter, make no mistake about it, like, is there that much of a difference between Coby White and Anferenee Simons? I don't know. And even with him only being a one-year contract and rental and give some flexibility to the Bulls, I mean, you technically have that with Coby anyway. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. I don't see how this benefits the Bulls except if they are interested in Nikola Vucevic. If the Celtics want Vooch and it's Anferenee Simons and whatever else to get Nikola Vucevic in there, I'd be interested in that. But then you have to make a move at a guard somewhere because you already have a deep guard rotation. Anferenee Simons can't come in here and be himself if you still have Kobe here, Giddey here, Ayo Dosunmu, Kevin Huerter, Dalen Terry. So, like, I don't know how this works out and makes the Bulls any better, if that makes sense. And maybe that's not the goal of the trade. Maybe it's just to get off Nikola Vucevic, and maybe that's it. Keep Vooch for C-Dub. That's hilarious. But how would a trade look? Vooch, they can't do Vooch and Kobe. The only way that they can do it would have to be Vooch or Kobe. So either Kobe's moved in another deal, and then you're trading Vooch, and then Anferenee Simons is coming in as your Kobe replacement from another deal, or you're trading Kobe. I don't think you're doing both. I don't think you're doing both. To get Vooch and Kobe White, they would have to include one of, I just want to look at the contracts here. I like to always look at the contracts. Give me 1 second because I want to be fair here in my analysis of this and look at it. Give me 1 second. Because if they would want Kobe and Vooch, that would mean that they would have to move one of, they can't trade Sam Hauser. They just gave him a contract extension. So yeah, the only way that they can get it done if they wanted Vooch and Kobe, it would have to be Derek White or Peyton Pritchard. And I don't know if they're willing to give up any one of those guys. So it'd have to be one of those two. There's no other way around it. That even Nang's contract wouldn't work in that case. So I think it would have to be one of those guys. Hey, did you see Rich Paul basically on the phone with Ishaba to get him to the Suns? Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Not gonna lie, Haize, it's a lot more relaxing having a young team. Stressful, hell yeah, it's a Reinsdorf team, but one thing's for sure is we have more realistic expectations and goals now. I don't disagree with you, Bulls fan. I don't disagree with you at all there, bro. You'd rather keep Vooch? I think the writing's on the wall for that, though, Javier. Like, I get what you're coming at with that, and I completely understand your perspective, but I think the writing's on the wall. Vooch is gone at the end of the season. There's almost no chance that they re-sign Vooch at the end of the season. So I think at some point you're just looking at getting something back for Vooch so you don't lose him for nothing. I think that's what you're looking at there. Again, my opinion, I don't know for a fact. I ain't talked to nobody. I don't know. I don't want White for Simmons. I'd rather move Vooch and Ayo for someone else valuable, like a young, lengthy rim protector and assets. I just want youth, but not at the guard position, man. Well, I'm not willing to move Ayo for that either. Ayo is the point of attack defender that we need with having a two-way play, so I don't want to move Ayo just for a rim protecting big either. I'd much rather just wait and try to get one in the draft or free agency next year, to be 100% honest with you. Kobe, Ayo, or Trae Young on the chopping block if we send in Vooch for Simons. Yeah, agree with that, 100%. Like, if you are Trae Young, first of all, we can't trade Trey Jones. He's a unrestricted free agent. But I do agree with you. If you do this trade, somebody has to be on the chopping block, you would think, right? One thing for sure about this current Bulls team is that this team belongs to Modest. Love seeing him bring in the rooks and show them around. I don't think that you can say this team belongs to Modest yet at all. I think that he is the biggest personality on the team for sure and absolutely. But I don't think you can say Modest has a lot that he has to grow through before you can say anything belongs to him. And that's just in fairness. We still need a big. Vooch for a guard rental doesn't make much sense. We don't need a big. Everybody who keeps saying we need a big, we don't. We have 3 centers on this roster. We don't, as it stands right now, we don't. Billy Donovan barely plays when we have 2 centers. So, and I'm just saying from the Bulls' perspective, we're just talking about, I know that we need a rim protecting big, but I'm talking about from a roster construction standpoint, we have 3 centers all under contract next year. The Bulls ain't going to sign another center unless they get rid of one. If they don't get rid of one, they ain't getting another center here. I can tell you that right now. You're not getting another center in the building as long as you have 3 centers under roster and Billy Donovan only knows how to use 2 of them at any given time. I can tell you that right now. I can guarantee you that. So I get what you're saying. On paper, the skill set that we're missing is a center, but unless the Bulls make a trade, you're probably not getting a center in here to save your life. That's just not how the Bulls or Billy Donovan operate. Vooch should be traded, but not for a guard. They should keep Trey. I do hope they keep Trey Jones. See, I'd rather keep Trey Jones than try to trade for Anferenee Simons personally. I think you give Essengu a week or 2 in the G League and then bring him up once he dominates at that level. Could be. I can't wait to see their development plan for Noah Essengu. I can't wait to see it. I wonder if the Bulls are trying to trade Kobe for a young rim protector. That's the only way this Vooch for Simmons trade makes sense to me. I completely agree with you, Hovind. That would have to be the thing that makes sense, is that if you have a deal on the table for Kobe for a center. That's the only way I think that works. I get it doesn't fit, but we may not be able to pass on this opportunity. Simons has much more value than Vooch. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Even if you look at what the Celtics got traded for him, I don't know if that's true anymore. Like for a couple of years ago, yeah, but I think with him being an expiring contract, and as it stands right now, there's a pretty good chance he's going to be an unrestricted free agency. I don't know how much you get back for Simons, mainly because teams are going to be able to willing to wait it out. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong on that, but that's my opinion. That's real. Next draft is going to be huge. If we're focused on the draft, I'm all for keeping this squad, except for Vooch and Paul. I'm just scared from the competitive shit and being a playing team. Well, keep in mind, teams that have been in the play-in have got the #1 overall pick the last couple of years. So if we're going off of what the trends have started to be, actually being a team that's trying to be competitive actually has boded well for teams in the lottery. So I again, we'll just see. The only way you move off of Kobe, in my opinion, is you get a guy kind of how Kobe and Io are on cost-effective contracts, but you get a guy on a contract like them, but younger. Who do you believe in? I don't think that's the only way. I think if you get draft assets or something that could get there, if you do get a player that is kind of more realized and takes your team, ups your team ceiling, there's a lot of different ways, right? Cap relief, which the Bulls are still looking at. You know, again, that's not what I would move him for, but I do think that there's a chance it could be some other things. I think Asenge is growing on me. After seeing his clips, I doubt he'll have the ball in his hands as much as in Germany, so it'll be a great open court lob threat, and he can keep moving the jumper. Yeah, the thing is, much like I said with Modest last year, I'm not comparing them as players, but Modest, the jump shot, I said last year, how much can Modest impact the game of basketball while he's still working on becoming a more effective shooter? Same question to Noah Asenge. As he becomes a more impactful shooter and works on his jump shot, how many ways can you affect the game of basketball? Defensively, forcing steals, which he does good. He does get to the free throw line at a great rate. Doesn't hit him great yet, but does get to the free throw line as a really great rate. And he is a lob threat. And he's a rim protector. So those things that if he can bring that, a combination of those things enough in a rookie year. I'm not looking at him to be perfect in those areas, but if you can bring enough of a combination of those things in his rookie year, yeah, there's a way for him to get on the court for sure. Just pulling in. There's not really a proposed deal yet. It's just the talk of what it could look like. So I'll go back to the quote from Bret Siegel directly for you. After trading on Lonzo Ball on Saturday and continue to field calls on Kobe White, the Chicago Bulls may need a new guard next to Josh Giddey, who the team intends to re-sign in free agency. The Bulls like to play fast and shoot a lot of threes, which would fit Simon's style of play perfectly. More importantly, from Boston's point of view, Nikola Vucevic is a veteran big man who would make up a lot of sense as a one-year replacement for Porzingis. Such a swap would immediately move the Celtics out of the first apron and give them a key veteran at center. Although there's no confirmation that the two teams have discussed such a scenario, the Celtics have been mentioned by league sources as a team with interest in Vucevic. So that's basically what it is. It's that the Celtics could have some interest in Nikola Vucevic. Anferenee Simons could be the pathway to get it done there, but it seems like it has to be via something else happening. So there you go there. Oh, God, what's worse, Bill? Oh, Bill by far. Bradley Beal is on a $52 million contract. Simons is on a $26 million contract. So, like, you're talking about almost double the pay for not double the production. So Bradley Beal is definitely the worst contract as it stands right now, at least in my opinion. Problem with the Bulls fan being two is we want a win-now culture without putting in the work of patient building. Rome wasn't built overnight. Teams that recently won waited years for a ring. I agree with you. I think that I said this on today's mailbag episode, which I only uploaded an hour and a half ago before this news dropped. I could have waited. But I said that on the mailbag episode, is that teams that do it sustainably over time, that they have a longer run. Like, that's a more sustainable thing. Teams that are patient and build it over time. Teams that try to make the flash in the pan move usually fizzle out just as quickly as they were brought together. So I know that the patient approach really sucks for Bulls fans because we want to win now because we're tired of fucking losing. But, you know, it is what it is when it comes down to that. If we trade for Simons, probably means we're not re-signing Trey Jones. No, because I think in this talk, it's specifically meaning that if Kobe's moved, then we trade for Simons. I don't think it's that we trade for Simons regardless. But I do agree. If you do make a trade, if you trade Nikola Vucevic for Simons without trading Kobe, then yeah, Trey Jones ain't coming back. Then we'll probably shift our free agent talk to maybe Deron Sharp, something like that. Seeing the situation the Bulls are in, Haize, I wouldn't mind to trade Kobe for draft compensation. Get salary relief, start Io, lose a lot more games, and increase our chances in next year's draft. Yeah, but the Bulls are never going to do it. The Bulls are not going to do something to make them a worse team. They're just not. That's not the business that they're in. The Bulls have no interest in tanking at all. They have no interest in that. Zero. I'm always thought Jalen Smith more of a power forward than center. Yeah, but a lot of people say that, but he's played center primarily for the entirety of his career. That just is what it is. And our forward rotation is deep now. So if Jalen wants to get in the rotation, he's going to be a center. We need to practice patience and understanding. Remember, we're not the ones putting in the work. And let's just say we do control the narrative. It still doesn't work, then what? Good point. Good point. Thought we was going to make a trade in the draft to get Cedric Howard or Drake Powell. Yeah, no. The fact that the Celtics got Luke Cornett after the Bulls had him makes them wanting Vucevic more realistic. You know what? That's not a bad point to be made there. I mean, all things aren't created equal, but that's not a bad point. And he played really well for them after not looking great here at all. So that's not a bad. You didn't make a bad point. Bulls will never tank. They've made that obvious for years. Exactly. That's why people who still like cry and whine about the Bulls not tanking, I'm just like, what team have you been watching over the last 5 years? They've literally told us they have no interest in tanking. This is not going to be a team that tank. They have zero appetite for tanking. It's not happening, y'all. As much as people can whine, bitch, moan, pray about it, do an African rain dance, it's not coming. This is not going to be a team that tanks. It's not going to be a team that tanks at all. Vooch should bring a major haul. What type of cocaine are you smoking? What brand? What brand? Is it cheap cocaine? Or is it luxury cocaine? Is that what it got your minds? A haul for Nikola Vucevic? What type of dope are you on? I just really would like to know so I can stay far away from it. What are you lacing your marijuana with? What are you doing? Are you doing bath salts? Are you sniffing Drano? What are you doing to where you think that Nikola Vucevic in the year of our Lord 2025 as an expiring contract and a declining player is going to get? Where are you getting? What are you doing? What are you sniffing? What's happening there? What's wrong? I just would really like to know what happened. Are you okay? Is everything okay at home? Off topic, Essengay's shooting motion is actually smooth. I think his shooting will get better with NBA shooting coach. Agreed. I've watched so much Essengay tape here over the last like 2 days. The shot mechanics look decent. I do think he has a low release point, which could lead it to get blocked a little bit more. But I think that's easily fixable. But that, I think that he gets off his shot with a decent rate. It's not like the quickest shot. It's not Kobe White, but I think he has enough on that. And my thing, much like with Modest Buzelis, I said the same thing with Modest. If he can get a fadeaway in the mid range with his height and wingspan, that could be very dangerous very difficult to block. So yeah, it's a lot of things to like about Essengay. To follow up on previous question, do you think Zoe Trey means we re-sign? Yes, I do think that makes it more likely that we re-sign Trey Jones. Could Kessler be an option for Kobe White? Since the Bulls are always targeting young players with experience, this is if they end up trading for Simons. I mean, could be. I don't know if the Utah Jazz would be interested in Kobe. I don't know. Like, I have to go and look at exactly what they're doing. I don't know. I'm not saying no, but we'll see. I respect them for not wanting to take. You're one of the first people to say that, and I respect you for respecting that, for sure. Do we have another year with Javon? Yeah, he picked up his player option. So unless they include him in another deal, Javon Carter's going to be at the end of the bench doing ball-headed whole things. So it just is what it is. Why would the Celtics trade Holiday and then talk to us about Vooch? You should have came to us when you had Holiday. We don't want Simmons. I wouldn't want Drew Holiday, to be honest with you. Simmons is at least an expiring contract, so yeah, no, that wouldn't have been the thing. Not when you have Ayo Dosunmu coming back healthy. But we shall see what happens. But that news dropped. I just wanted to bring that news to you guys as quick as possible. Also, because I just want to enjoy my day. I want to crack open a cold beer. I just want to chill. So we'll see what the Bulls do, man. I appreciate you all so much, man, for continually supporting the channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, and I'll see y'all the next time I feel like doing an episode. Go Bulls. Love you guys. See red. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.